Hey guys, welcome back. So today we'll be finding the opposite or the additive inverse. Let's look at our first example. So let's say we needed to find the opposite or the additive inverse of the number 6. And the opposite of number 6 is going to be -6. This is the opposite of 6. The reason why it's -6, remember, is that when you're looking for the additive inverse or the opposite, it has to equal 0. So for an example, 6 plus -6 has to equal 0. So if I solve this, you're going to get 6 minus 6, and your answer here is going to be 0. So yes, -6 is the opposite of 6. Remember, your numbers have to equal 0 if you're looking for the additive inverse or the opposite. What is the additive inverse of 5? The additive inverse of 5 is going to be -5 because when you add 5 plus -5, it's going to equal 0. So 5 plus -5, this is going to be 5 minus 5, and 5 minus 5 equals 0. So we know that -5 is the opposite of 5. Let's say you had -8. What is the opposite or additive inverse of -8? And your answer here is going to be 8. Because if we do -8 plus 8, this is going to equal 0. You may write a positive 8 like this, or you may write it like this. What about the opposite or additive inverse of -2? The answer here is going to be a positive 2. Or you may write it like this. Okay, and the reason why is because -2 plus 2 is going to equal 0. So we know 2 is the opposite of -2. What is the opposite of 0 or the additive inverse of 0? And this is going to just be 0. So your final answer here is going to be 0 because 0 plus 0 equals 0. What about 2 over 3? What is the opposite of 2 over 3? Remember, we are not looking for the reciprocal. We are looking for the opposite. So the opposite of 2 over 3 is going to be -2 over 3 because 2 over 3 plus -2 over 3 equals 0. This here is going to be 2 over 3 minus 2 over 3, and this is going to equal 0. What about -3 over 4? What is the opposite of -3 over 4? And the opposite here is going to be 3 over 4 because -3 over 4 plus 3 over 4, this is going to equal 0. And because it equals 0, then we know, yes, this is the opposite. You may also write it like this. What about the number 25? What is the opposite of 25? The opposite of 25 is going to be -25. The reason why is because 25 plus -25 is going to equal 0. And if you continue solving, 25 minus 25, this is going to equal 0. What about 2 over 8? What is the opposite of 2 over 8? And the opposite is going to be -2 over 8 because if I add the 2, this is going to equal 0. So 2 over 8 plus -2 over 8, this is going to equal 0. What about -5 over -6? What is the opposite of -5 over -6? Now pay close attention here. Notice that my two negatives here are going to cancel out. So this equals 5 over 6. Now, by looking at my 5 over 6, what is the opposite of 5 over 6? And your answer here is going to be -5 over 6 as your answer. Remember, these negatives here, they cancel out. So now, if I look at my 5 over 6 and my -5 over 6, so 5 over 6, plus -5 over 6, this is going to equal 0. So you have 5 over 6 here, minus 5 over 6, and yep, this is going to equal 0. What about -1 and 4/5? What if you needed to find the opposite of this mixed fraction here? First thing we're going to do, we're going to turn this mixed fraction into an improper fraction. 1 times 5, and then we're going to add 4. So 1 times 5 is 5, plus 4 is going to be 9. So you have 9 over 5. And don't forget to bring your negative sign. So that's going to be right here. So you have your mixed fraction here. We turned it into an improper fraction. So remember, 1 times 5 and then plus 4. And that's going to be your numerator. All right. So now we have negative 9 over 5. What is the opposite of negative 9 over 5? The opposite here is going to be a positive 9 over 5. Because if we add negative 9 over 5 plus 9 over 5, this is going to equal 0. All right, so that is all for today, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.